Hello, this is John from Mature Medellin. Today, if you're new to this channel, I'm talking about something a little bit serious. About 5 days ago, on the 22nd, there was a flight attendant. His name's Eric Fernando Gutierrez Molina. He was 32 years old and he was lost. I don't know the whole story, but he was found today, or they say they found a body that resembled him. So I believe that to be the case. It's unfortunate because these kinds of stories is what makes foreigners afraid of coming down to Colombia, especially Medellin. These kinds of things and the use of scopolamine, or what they call devil's breath. When I first heard about this drug, I was totally blown away. I was like, there's a drug like that? There's no way there's a drug like that. But basically, either they can blow it on you, they can serve it in your drink. A lot of times females put it on their body parts for males to sniff or drink. And what it does is it makes you a zombie, meaning you're fully awake, but you don't have control of your body. They tell you what to do and you obey, and people don't even know you are drugged a lot of the time. So people are going to the banks and taking out all their money and giving passwords, all sorts of things. And a lot of times they even end up dead. And I don't know the story behind Eric, but here's some things I do know. One, his name suggests that he's Hispanic. If you look at his photo, he looks like he's Hispanic. I don't know if he knew the language, but chances are he doesn't stand out as much as you do as a gringo, or as I do as a Chino. They call me Chino in Colombia. We stand out, right? We're a target. We are always being hunted, and you have to. It's a horrible thing to think that way, but it's true. That is the truth. Now, can you avoid situations? Of course. This situation could have been easily avoided. He was out with his friend, which was smart, but she left. I don't know what time she left, but they said the last contact they had with him and his phone was about 5 a.m. So I assume she left pretty late, and he stayed back with strangers he met that night at the bar. So clearly, totally red flags that were there that he didn't see or he chose to ignore, because people are friendly and people do lie. People are sneaky, people with bad intentions. And maybe these people just had the intention of robbing him, but ultimately he ends up dead. This is a common story in Medellin. I hear about it all the time, especially now since I'm living there part-time and going back and forth. And it's totally unnecessary and totally can be stopped. So things to think about with Eric. Number one is Eric is flight attendant. So assuming he's been to many different countries and many different flights, so he's probably well traveled, probably better traveled than you, right? He's probably been to more countries than you. I don't know his flight history or anything like that, but I'm just making assumptions. If you're a flight attendant, you've probably been to a lot of places. And even Eric was fooled. So there's so many gringos, so many Americans, so many foreigners who come to Colombia not paying attention to the warnings that expats give, people who's been here for a long time give, and they make mistakes. They feel that they are smarter than these people who were robbed or killed. And quite frankly, and oftentimes when they don't heed instruction, they're not as smart. And it's unfortunate. And in this case, it sounds like it's a very unfortunate thing that's happened, not only to Eric, his friends, and his family, but also to the country and the city of Medellin and Colombia. It gives a black eye to not only Colombia, but also to foreigners who come, right? I'm not sure what Eric was looking for at a bar at that night, but I do know adults like to have fun, adults like to play. And I'm not holding anybody against that. So let's talk about some basic Colombian dating things. My background is I've been in Colombia for about 3 years, back and forth. and I have a lot of friends online as well as in person. I do business there, and so I have even more friends that I've met naturally. I don't speak Spanish well. I only say a few words, but we communicate very well. Some of my friends speak English, and some of my friends we communicate with a translator. But what I do know about dating is this. Number one, there's about 80% of women in Colombia are single mothers, just so you know. The number is drastically high, much, much higher than you would ever imagine. But it's like that here in this country. And I don't know what's changed because, like, if you see the older couples who are grandparents now, they're typically married. It's a husband and wife, or if it's just one, it's because the other one passed away, but they had a healthy marriage. But somewhere along the line in Colombia, marriage got broken. Now, guys mess around and women want to have children. Women mess around. They don't mind having children. They don't see that as a negative faux pas or negative anything. They have children and then they realize, oh my God, I got to take care of this child. And oftentimes in Colombia, with the wage being so low, they often get into OnlyFans work or what we call prepago or prostitution. That's the only way they can make a living. So it's a little bit different. Obviously, I don't know a lot of women who are prostitutes in Colombia or in the U.S. But what I do know is in Colombia, a lot of average girls resort to that because they have no choice but to eat and to live and to feed their babies. And so they're doing this kind of work. So if you're going to date, be aware of that. Be aware that most likely the person you're dating will be a single mom. And that's the percentages. Now, are there single ladies? Of course. Are there good, valued women who saved themselves for marriage? I don't know if they saved themselves for marriage, if I'm being honest, but there are good, valued women in Colombia. No question about that. But the vast majority of women are single mothers, and they need financial support, and they expect financial support. So a lot of guys who come to America, who come to Colombia, they don't understand the culture, the dating culture in Colombia. So number one, they think I'm not going to help a girl to date her. That's ridiculous because they're not used to that. In America, you never have to do that, right? You're never or rarely, supporting your girlfriend. Most girls have their own jobs and they're doing very good. And, unless you're a super baller, you're not really taking care of your girlfriend. In Colombia, that's not true. In Colombia, almost every woman gets some sort of support from their man, and that's expected. And so if you're coming to Colombia, understand the culture and understand that that's the kind of situation that you're running into when you're starting to date. The other thing you really need to think about is I see so many, especially this channel's for mature people, and I see so many expats who are older who come to a new country and they see a young woman who likes them. And in a lot of cases, it's genuine. I get it. They're not only after your money, but they are after your money, but they're not only after your money, right? And so I can see a lot of guys who's been lonely in the States who maybe didn't have a lot of options or didn't have a lot of experience, or maybe they had a long-term partner and now they're divorced over a long period of time, or whatever the case may be. But I see a lot of people my age, a little older or whatever, they come to Colombia, they get super excited, they have no experience, and they date somebody and they fall in love. And that sounds beautiful, right? And in a lot of cases, it can be, but it often isn't. What happens is they fall in love with a girl. They do everything for them. Like, my mom's sick, my dog's sick, I'm sick. I have to pay for groceries. Every single thing you can possibly think of, you hear, and you start supporting this girl because you love her. And later on, you find out that she had a boyfriend on the side. Or you find out that she didn't really love you. She really needed money to survive. Or she liked you enough to be your girlfriend or boyfriend, but that was about it. And it wasn't serious. Not like the way you thought. And so I see so many men coming to Colombia, and especially men who aren't wealthy, right? They come in with limited income and they spend all their money on a local girl and they lose it all. It's so sad. The story is so sad. I hear it over and over again. And you might think to yourself, I'm smarter than that. I'm not going to fall for that. But just be aware of these stories that are real, and be aware that this is the conditions that you walk into when you're walking into Colombia. I've seen so many cases where people come for a week or two, because that's people's vacation, right? They meet a girl and they fall in love and they are in fantasy. In my opinion, that's no different than these men going to OnlyFans and falling in love, because what they're falling in love with is fantasy. It's not reality. And some men will say, how do I say this? I know a lot of guys who say, I would never go to Colombia and use a prostitute. I'm with you. I don't think that's the right choice. But if you're going to fall for an illusion, renting a woman is much cheaper than making a girlfriend and spending thousands and thousands of dollars on this fantasy. And that's what it is. Unfortunately, it's a fantasy, and most men fall for it. Most men are not strong enough socially, not strong enough mentally or physically, or whatever you want to say, to understand when they are being played. And it's unfortunate because they fall for the first woman that shakes their tail and shakes their bus and say, sweet things in their ear, right? And it's very, very sad to see. And I really wish that Americans and, expat foreigners who come to Colombia, they can learn from it. So once again, they come for a week, and what do you expect? They go on Tinder, and they go to Parquilleres and Provenza, and they're looking for love. Do you know that 95% of women in Parquilleres and Provenza are prepagos, prostitutes? I don't know the percentage, but the percentage is extremely, extremely high. Nice girls do not go to Tinder or other places like that to find love. And of course, I'm generalizing. Are there nice girls on Tinder? Yes. Are there nice girls on Provenza? Yes. But that's a minority. That's not the majority. And if you fall in love the week you're there because you're such a handsome American guy with an American passport, there might be ulterior motives. It might not be because you're such a good lover in bed, okay? Just so you know. So these are things to be aware of when you're going to Colombia and wanting to date. The other thing to really consider is understand if you're choosing to date a Colombian woman, understand the difference between helping them financially and getting taken advantage of. And that only comes with time spent and with experience. But I think most men are smart enough to understand the difference when they use their emotion or their brain. Luckily, most men are very logical and they can think things through very logically, right? And just like so many American men or so many foreigners, they go to Colombia, they whisper sweet things to these great girls who are not prepagos, they're great girls, but these guys use them for sex tourism. It's a shame. They tell them what they want, and these girls, what do? They listen to their heart. They don't listen to their brain, and they fall for it. And they give up their bodies for what? For nothing. And so in the same way, women get punished for being stupid, men get punished for being stupid. So that's the thing I can tell you. The best way, so what is the solution? The best way is meeting people socially. I know that's hard to do in 1 week, but we are trying to solve that problem. One of the things I'm doing personally is I'm creating a social club where I'm inviting people I know personally into the club, and only going to be selective, curating the right people, interesting Colombian women and successful foreign men, and we're gonna have social activities. So when you are there and there is a social activity like meeting at a rooftop bar for drinks, maybe you'll come. Maybe you can go there safely. And one of the things we're planning to do, we're just in the thought process of this, and just starting to invite a few of the ladies to start talking to you. But we're going to collect their IDs, right? And if you're a man, we're going to collect your passports. I think the most important thing in dating in Colombia, especially if it's a short-term visit, is safety. That's the most important thing. And we need to address that. So here's my basic rule for you. If you're coming to Colombia for dating, stay here for a long period of time. If you're gonna come for dating for a week, chances are you're gonna get in trouble. Even if you don't get scopolamine or drugged or any of that, you could get financially rinsed, or you can get your emotions wrecked because you've fallen for some illusions. And even if you did find someone and you're here for a week, what's the chance of that long distance relationship working out, right? So be smart about that. And we are making plans to have a social group so people can meet in a safe place. So hopefully you learned something today in this video. Be safe, that's the most important thing. I really wish we could get rid of this negative stigmatism about Medellin and about Colombia. I mean, to think you have scopolamine and it's called devil's breath, and what it does to you, it's like a science fiction movie. It's like, how is this even possible? I want you to look up the Vice video and look at that. It's quite shocking what devil's breath will do for you or do to you. So anyway, I hope this video finds you well. Like and subscribe, and we'll see you on the next one.